I've always felt like I was pretty much born on a stage with a lot of like spotlights around the family because especially when I was born, that's when my dad really started like, finding his footing as a professional musician. He was lying on the bed and I started like, just touching it and feeling the strings, how it is, and it was too big for me at the time. This guy's, his jaw drops. He's like, you barely learned the basic AD. Now you want to learn Hotel California because that has bar chords and all that.
You didn't have any kind of stage fright or be in front of people, performance fright or something like that?
That is a really good question. So, I mean, with stage, anytime I have to go on stage, perform, and be in front of cameras or whatever, like a switch flips, and I'm suddenly like.
Was there any other fear growing up or kind of a challenge in your life?
This kind of reveals something about human nature that you can be two things at the same time.
Dichotomy,
Yeah. That very much exists in any person's life, and it felt like I'll never be able to, conquer this thing on my back. This is going to be something that's going to follow me my entire life, and I'm always going to miss the train.
Can anybody have this relationship with God?
It's for everybody.
How does that work?
It's for everybody. It's for everybody to have. All you have to do is just ask and you'll receive. And it's not like I'm religious or anything. I'm like the farthest person from religion like that. But I just believe in having a relationship with Jesus. It's just like, he's my friend.
Ricky, what's your greatest fear?
Oh, my greatest fear. Let me think about this one. So my greatest fear.
Imagine growing up in a house where music isn't just music, it's history, it's reputation, it's a standard you're expected to live up to. Today's guest knows exactly what it feels like. He's a professional musician carving out his own voice in a world that constantly compares, measures, and assumes. He was born to a well-known, respected musician, which means his journey was never just about talent. It was about identity, about learning how to step out of the shadow without rejecting where you come from. In this conversation, we are going to talk about pressure, doubt, discipline, faith, and the quiet battles that never make it to the stage. Because you know what? Courage isn't loud. Most of the time, it's private. Ricky, I'm really glad you're here with us. Welcome to Courage Coach. I was having lunch today, and my cousin, no, not my cousin, my niece told me that you lost your close friend.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, what was your relationship? How did it happen?
It just happened, like, honestly, I'm still in a lot of disbelief. Anytime I think about it, I feel like he's still there, but just I haven't come to grips with it yet, that Sharon Russell, my very close friend, and he's somebody I started my entire musical journey with. It's a whole story. Maybe we might get into it later, like how it all started, but it just happened 2 weeks ago. So, and right before Christmas too. So like, I'm still coming to terms with that he's gone. And because we made plans like 2 weeks before he passed away, he called me and we had a conversation. He sounded a bit sick and down. So I shared some uplifting words with him. And then by the end of that phone call, he sounded cheered up. And then we made plans for 2026, New Year right now. And that we'll get back together with our band and, start touring again, do gigs and all that stuff. And just, like a flash. And the guy
He was in the same band?
Yeah. He's the guy who I started my entire professional musical journey with.
Did you go to the same school?
No, we didn't. I met him about 10 years back because Sharon was a big fan of my dad. Like, he idolized my dad growing up, and he modeled his style after my dad, the way he played guitar, and even later on started wearing a cowboy hat, boots and all that. So it was like really, really inspired by my dad. Like, my dad was his biggest hero. So that's how I got to know him, and I immediately struck up a really deep and like very close brother-like friendship with him for the last 10 years. And we decided that, you and I, we're going to team up, we're going to hit the road, take our talents, see where it takes us and all that. In fact, as I was just driving down, I passed by the mall here. So I was thinking of him on the way here because when we first started our journey together, I told Sharon before we set out to find gigs and find work, that we're only going to do it solely based on our talent. We'll go and talk to different managers, hit up different spots around town and all that. And we're not going to share with anybody that, my dad's Bobby Cash and all that. We're just going to talk as complete newbies and all that, do it that way. So Pacific Mall was one of the first places we went to as these two young punks just, carried our guitars, went in the
Yeah.
mall, like, hey, can we talk to the manager? You have events here and all
Right.
that. So we're interested in like, joining your roster of like artists you get for stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that memory just flashed back, and this was in 2018. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I still miss the guy.
Oh,
It
man.
was a very tough loss to take, and still, still think that he's still there because
Yeah.
it's so hard, especially when somebody's that young, only
Yeah.
26 years old.
He was 26.
Just 26. In fact, he just turned 26 2 weeks before he passed
Oh.
away.
Oh, man. Do you know how it happened?
He'd been battling a lot of health issues.
Okay.
Last few months especially, and depression, and a lot of mental health issues as well. Like he was facing depression and just not keeping up well physically. So, and it just, like, we got the news one day when I was having lunch, and my dad tells me that he's in the hospital, he's on the ventilator, and we just, like, it was a big shock, like, because that is the last person on earth you could ever expect. Because I've known Sharon as super strong. Like
Yeah.
he was a mountain of a guy in terms
Yeah.
of just mental toughness, physical toughness. He was tall, really strong, and in terms of his talent, he was just like a child prodigy, but also like a once in a lifetime sort of talent like that, especially at the
Yeah.
age he achieved what he did, is just like hard to find world over. So it's like it's been a very, very tough loss
Oh,
losing
that's
him.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I just got to know just before this interview we were
Okay.
talking that I told my dad,
Yeah,
Rick
yeah,
is
yeah,
coming,
yeah.
and then it just came up about this. I had no idea, and I can relate to it a little, even though
Yeah.
with me it happened so many years ago when
Yeah,
I
yeah,
lost
yeah,
my
yeah.
best friend.
Yeah.
But I know the vacuum. I mean, hats off to you that you can even sit here after 2 weeks and talk. I was numb. I locked myself for 4 weeks. I didn't want to see anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't see my family. I didn't see my friends. I locked myself, and I was constantly just playing back the songs, the songs that we
Yeah.
listened to
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
ones that we recorded. That time it was just tape recorders, so we had recorded just a day or two before
Oh my
his
God.
passing. We had recorded. I was just listening,
Yeah.
and one of the songs, very ironically, was "Tears in Heaven" by
Oh,
Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, before we get into your musical journey,
Yeah.
I want to know, how was it growing up to a well-known professional musician?
Well, it's been because of that, because of my dad, growing up around him, I've always felt like I was pretty much born on a stage with a lot of like spotlights around the family. Because especially when I was born, that's when my dad really started, like, finding his footing as a professional musician. And I think 96 was the year that things really started to shape up in terms of his career, started becoming well known, especially in the Delhi music circuits, and people would come to my house for interviews and all that. So I've kind of, pretty much been born into that sort of thing, seeing how the showbiz, the industry works, and all that. And just growing up with him, it's been very musical. That's the word for it. Just because our house is a house full of music. Anybody who comes to our house always goes back with a smile and just beautiful memories of carrying a lot of music with them, because that's like our thing, like music. So
Yeah.
pretty much every room in my house is full of instruments, speakers, sound setups, and guitars and guitars and guitars galore everywhere.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been fun growing up in that sort of thing, because it's very musical, and my parents are very encouraging about, like, pursuing the arts like I do with my life. And yeah, it's been a very encouraging and, like, uplifting upbringing that I've gone through in my life.
So you, probably you don't even remember the first time you held a guitar because it
Yeah.
was everywhere. You were literally touching
Yeah.
guitar
Yeah.
instruments.
Yeah.
Do you have like a memory when you first started playing the first tunes on the guitar?
I'll tell you how I
Yeah.
got started.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I got like mildly interested in the guitar. In fact, I still have that guitar in my like music business, my music store. I keep it displayed still, although it's a very trashy, beat up old guitar. It doesn't even play well anymore, but I still have it there as like the first time I ever got drawn to the guitar. This was probably around, maybe I was like 4 years old. And I think my dad was invited to some sort of game show or something, and he won that guitar as a prize. He got it
Wow.
home. And he just like, it was lying on the bed, and I started like, just touching it and
Yeah.
feeling the strings, how it
Right.
is. And it was too big for me at the time, but
Yeah.
I just, just strumming it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got interested in that. But it wasn't until like I was, I think, 7 years old. That's when I first picked up the guitar, and now it's been about 20, 21, 22 years since I've been playing.
Wow.
And it all started because at the time, I think we had this church group. We used to go as kids and learn a lot of like hymns and Christian songs and all that. So I would just see people play guitar in
Right.
that. And that's where I really got interested because I wanted to sing those songs and join along and,
Yeah. Yeah.
play them as well. That's how I got the interest to like actually start learning guitar. So at the time, there used to be this young gentleman who was here from the Northeast, and he was leading the church worship and all
Okay.
that. So I got hold of my parents, be like, I want to learn guitar.
Wow.
And so they got hold of him and asked him to give me a few lessons. So because of that, a lot of other kids, also some of my cousins and all that, they also got interested in learning guitar. So I think officially I didn't have a lot of lessons, like maybe 2 weeks worth of lessons. So I learned the basic A major,
Right.
D, E, just the very basic stuff.
Basic chords. Yeah.
And I think after that time, after those 2 lessons, the teacher, like he was going home on break.
Yeah.
So my lessons pretty much got stopped. So that entire summer, this was before the summer vacations, all I did that entire summer was A, D, E, A, D, E. All I knew was three
AD.
chords. And that's how I built the dexterity and the speed. Just playing
Right.
whatever I knew was just three chords. I would just play A, D, E, just building up really fast speed doing that.
Right.
And then he comes back from vacay in like July, and he's very surprised to see me play that
Wow.
fast. And I'm
Yeah.
playing that. So then I'm like, okay, now teach me Hotel California.
Right. So you go from ADG directly to Hotel California.
And this guy's, his jaw drops.
Yeah.
He's like, you barely learned the basic ADE. Now you want to learn Hotel California because that has bar chords and all that. And I think he was not available to teach regularly. So I was like, you know what? I don't care. Just teach me Hotel California. Just tell me the chords. I'll figure it out myself. I'll practice it out. Bar chords, whatever. Just teach me. So I sat one afternoon with him. He taught me the B minor, F sharp, and all that chords. I didn't even know the names. I was just like, teach me the shapes. So all I would play is Hotel California. And that made me master all my bar chords,
Wow.
shapes, and all of that. And after that, I just started playing guitar. So what I would do was just like at the time, we had simple computers back in the day at that time. So I would just play songs and I would just play guitar over it. That taught me how to stay in perfect like track timing.
Track.
Because a track is like set. It's not going to slow down for you like
exactly.
a teacher would. So that taught me how to play really in perfect sync with the the track and all that, and basically become a metronome. So I kept on doing that, and then I think a few years after that, my cousins and I we decided to form our little child band.
Okay.
So so
How old were you at that time?
I was barely. This is I must have been 12, 11 or 12.
11, 12.
Yeah.
And you had been playing the guitar for at least 3, 4 years?
Yeah, two or 3 years.
2, 3 years, yeah.
So one of my cousins who played the drums, one of my other cousins, she was just getting into playing the keyboard. My sister sang.
Mm.
And so this was like our summer vacation project. Like, we'll just get together and
Yeah.
build a practice. And we were so I still vividly remember
Hmm.
how excited we were. Like at the time we had that school we had. So we converted in one of the classrooms into our like jam pad, the practice room, and we decorated it and put the drums in there. And we were so
Wow.
excited to like do that. I still have those memories in my mind coming vividly right now. And yeah, of course, the song that we did, you guessed it, was Hotel California. That was like our, for, that was
Yeah.
like our song,
Yeah.
and we played it at like family parties and like wherever we could play that song. We played it
Wow.
so much at one point it kind of became like, oh, before we would even go up to the stage,
Yeah.
people would be like, oh, Hotel California is coming up. So that was
Right.
like our song at the
I mean,
time.
yeah, and it's one of the. It's a great song for beginners. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say it's advanced for learners.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
advanced. So it was one of your first songs.
yeah,
In
yeah,
fact, going from simple major chords to directly playing Hotel
yeah.
California is a huge jump.
It is a
So
huge jump.
you jumped. And I can only see that it runs in your DNA, not people like us. We cannot, we couldn't do that. We were playing. I remember my first song was probably, I can't even remember, but
Yeah.
something like "Wonderful Tonight" or something,
Right, right, right.
which had also, I think, so GCD or some
Yeah, yeah,
chords
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Wow.
still teach Hotel California.
Oh,
Like
you do?
I like
Yeah.
work with a lot of kids and a lot of like people different ages in my guitar class. So like that's I because I tell the kids that I have that because I could learn that song at like 8 years old, you can too. Like a typical song usually has
Right.
like your regular pop song has 3 or 4 chords.
Right.
Hotel California has 8 chords.
That's why it's pretty complex.
Yeah, but it's a good challenge because if you
Yeah.
can learn that early,
Yeah.
everything else will seem really easy by comparison. So
That
like
is true. That is true. And so when you say you started with that, and
yeah,
when your band was playing,
yeah.
you were all playing the different parts like Eagles, these guys.
I mean, at the time, I just played rhythm.
Okay.
So we had Hotel California without the actual cool bits of the song, like the
Yeah.
solo at the end. I couldn't play that, so it was just like we finished the verse. You can check out anytime. Like you can never leave when song ends. It was
Okay.
like that.
Cool.
But yeah, it was forgiven because we were just kids, so people
Right.
were just happy to see us do that song. But yeah, now I can play the solo and all that. But yeah,
Right.
at the time, I wish I could.
So tell me, like, as a kid, as somebody 10, 11 years old, you didn't have any kind of stage fright or being in front of people,
That is a
performance
really
fright
good
or something
question.
like that?
That is a really good question. So, I mean, with I mean, like in my personal life, I may be considered a bit of an introvert. Like I'm a pretty quiet person. I like stay engulfed in my own little world, my hobbies and all that. But somehow the stage, and I was very, 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 very shy kid growing up. I was extremely shy, extremely like, cornered into my own world. But somehow the stage always excited me. Like it was almost like this has been the case all my life throughout school. Anytime I have to go on stage, perform, and be in front of cameras or whatever, like a switch flips, and I'm suddenly like just into another zone. I still don't know how that works,
Wow.
but I have theories about it,
Yeah.
how that could be. Of course, it has to do definitely with seeing my dad growing up, just being so stage ready and like,
Yeah.
just seeing, since I was pretty much a
Yeah.
little baby, always seeing him just step up to the stage with no fright, always
Yeah.
just walking up confidently and just doing his thing.
Right.
So I guess seeing somebody in my own house, my own dad being that confident and doing that, it's always made me feel like, yeah, I can do it too. He does it. Like it's not a big deal. And the other thing is like just I just have like all my pretty much people I've looked up to entire childhood has been really like either musicians or like I'm a big huge fan of professional wrestling. So
Okay.
growing up watching those like The Rock or like
Right.
Chris Jericho, all these people, they're so confident when they make big elaborate entrances and like they're talking on the mic. So I grew up idolizing a lot of wrestlers. So because of that, like I was always excited to go on the stage in front of people, entertain the audience. It was just part of me. So
Right.
I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
It just hit my mind. So this is when I was like in high school, grade 11 or 12, I think. So school assemblies happen and kids have to come up
Yeah.
on stage
Yeah.
and somebody reads the news, somebody shares a thought for the day. So once I was assigned to
Yeah.
like read the news in
Mm-hmm.
school that day. So before I went up on stage, I thought like, let me do something different because morning in, morning out, kids come up, read something. Nobody even listens to it. It's
Yeah.
just like people are just waiting to get to class or just, disperse from the assembly line or whatever. So I just thought I'll just come in and looking back, probably I wouldn't do something like that now. But if I could go back in time, I would discourage myself at it. Like just read the news and get off stage. But I was so amped up. Yeah, I'm facing a lot of crowd and I'll have the microphone and everybody's going to listen to me. Although I'm just going to be saying the news, let me just spice it up. Let me present it like I'm a rock star on stage and all that. So I don't know how I got the confidence because that something like that had probably never been done in the history of schools ever. A kid just walking up and just being like bringing rock star energy to just reading the news. So I just come up on stage and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, like, welcome to the news bulletin for today. And I'm going to bring you the news and all that. And at the time, like the moment I started, there was like hush fell over the entire school.
Wow.
Because everybody's like, what? Because nobody expects that. A kid to just come up with that kind of energy and all that. So yeah, I did that. And I was aware, like
Yeah.
I was seeing people's faces. Everybody's like, like really locked in, like, okay, what's happening here? I could see some of my teachers also, even they're surprised and all that. So I just did my thing, got off the stage, and I walked down, and that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? There was no need to do that, and now everybody's going to laugh at me. So something really interesting happened there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids were laughing also, of course. A lot of it was just like something so different and something so out of the blue, like out of left field for everybody. So a lot of kids were laughing and all that. So my school principal, uh, she usually would be on the stage during the assembly. Then she would also give her announcements and all that. So she grabs the mic and she like tells the entire school, why are you laughing at this kid? You should admire the confidence this kid came up with, and this is something you could learn from. At least he tried something different. And then
Wow.
she got the entire school to give me a applause, an
Wow.
ovation.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So I still think back and what she did that day,
Yeah.
that really encouraged me. That's a little act of just
Yeah.
encouraging a kid for stepping out and trying something different.
Yeah.
And it was so nice seeing the school principal actually getting the entire school to clap for me at the time.
Right.
So I was like, okay, it was worth it. And I bet that is the one day in the entire school's history that every kid actually heard the news that day.
Wow. How old were you at that time?
I must have been like 11th, 12th grade, 17, 16,
17,
17.
16, 17.
One of those years.
Just taking a little further from this story, what would you say to anybody who's in school in teenage years? Because those are the awkward years, right?
Yeah.
To any advice or sort of suggestion what they can do
Oh,
to
yeah.
overcome their fright?
See, with school kids, I think
Yeah.
I'm at a point of life because I'm just about to enter my 30s next month.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, my advice would be the best for kids who are still in school because I'm way past that age and because I work with a lot of kids these days with my classes and all that. So I would just say never be afraid to be authentic, even if in the moment it feels like it is something like people might laugh at you for that. But if you feel you're being authentic and you're being interesting and you're like pursuing something, it's going to pay off later on. At the moment, like kids laughed at me. But later on, those same kids, a lot of kids who would laugh at me at the time because I also would wear cowboy hats to school, and it was very different, especially for here, wearing cowboy boots, hats, and just being very different in the way I walked and talked and the kind of music I played. A lot of people didn't get it; they made fun. But by the end of like, I remember by the time the farewell came from the school, like 12th grade. And I think they called every kid on stage and all that. I got a really strong standing ovation from the entire school the moment I got up on stage because by then people had accepted like me as the entertainer of the school and all that. And usually in school farewells they give out all these sashes to kids, right? Mr. This, that, and all that. So I remember that particular year. I think that's also another first that's probably happened in the school. They created an entire like new category just for me specifically because they really wanted to reward me as something. So I think I got something that said, I don't know, musician of the year or something, like one of those things. I can't
Okay.
remember, entertainer of the year or something. So they invented that entire thing just to, so my school was very, very in terms of like, pushing kids
Okay.
to like really explore their
Mm-hmm.
creativity and be uh, entertaining or
Yeah.
just, push their authentic self out there. It was
Yeah.
very good at encouraging that. So yeah, props to that for St. Jude's for
Cool.
doing that.
Awesome. So as I understand, you were a shy introvert kid, but once
Yeah.
you went on stage, early on, you got over that stage fright, and you
Yeah.
were pretty comfortable on
Yeah.
stage, right?
Yeah.
And another person I've heard a story of, I watched a documentary several years ago of Michael Jackson.
Oh.
And Michael Jackson also pretty much grew up with that music. And the first person that comes to my mind is, he grew up with a musical family, a musician's family,
Yeah.
right from the thing that he was more comfortable on stage
Then off
than
stage.
dealing with the problems of the world, so to say, or the
Yeah.
society,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's awesome how sometimes and I've heard that about actors as well.
Yeah.
Very shy. Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
very shy person.
Yeah.
That guy works with the same director, same set of actors and crew for probably he's worked for his entire career.
Yeah.
And I've heard and read about him that during the breaks or the crew breaks or snack break or something, when he's sitting around or
Yeah.
changing set or anything, he barely talks to anybody.
Oh,
The guy,
I didn't know that.
Scorsese has to come because Scorsese he's worked in a lot of projects with him.
Yeah.
He comes and he has to really make him feel comfortable and all
Right.
that. You would never think.
You would never think.
I mean, the guy who's
Yeah.
done Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and whatnot,
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That's really interesting about artists. That fascinates me. Like they're totally different person when they are there. Where sometimes I wonder where they draw this courage from. Of course, you can say confidence can be built up
Yeah.
and courage,
Yeah.
but how the persona changes, like the thing that you observed about your father, he was always ready.
Yeah.
Always ready to go on stage with that confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what I observed as
Right.
well. We were kids and we say, man, how can he be so cool out there all by himself, nobody beside him, left or right? He doesn't need any accompaniment or
Yeah.
musicians. He's there, the whole band. And that was
Yeah.
the amazing thing about him.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to, attending one of your concerts. Do let me know
Oh
when
yeah.
it's coming up.
Absolutely.
Cool, wonderful. So another thing that I want to ask is, when you were growing up, so being in this thing, did you feel anything like whether it was freedom? Did music give you freedom, or was there a stage in your life while you were growing up that it felt like responsibility? In the sense of like you said, the time you were born.
Yeah.
You just said your dad's career really skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And so you were growing with that. Did it put some pressure or responsibility on you?
No, not that I can think of. Like because my parents have never like, put that kind of pressure on me
Right.
ever. Like you have to do this too or whatever. Even music, like my dad's thing was like he's never gonna push me into learning the guitar. It would
Okay.
happen on its own. And
Right.
that's how it happened. Just naturally I, got that thing in me. And as I told you, it happened through like church.
Right,
I was
right.
just in church seeing some guy play and
Yeah.
lead the worship and all that. And I was like, okay, I can do this too. I want to do this too. I want to also sing and be able to play an instrument. So it kind of that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
And no, it's never been pressure because like everything was so organic.
Okay.
Everything, the desire in me to play an instrument, and there was never any kind of pressure on me from anybody actually to like, be at that level or that plays so well and you have to also be like, I've never felt that kind of pressure on me. I just let it come to me naturally as it does. And because I feel I'm also very blessed with the, God has blessed me with the talent of music to learn it, pursue it, and have that like passion towards it. So I just For me, like music and especially the guitar, I just love discovering new things on it. It's just like, I always say, I tell my students this too, that this is a race with no finish line because
Oh yeah.
there's always so much to learn
Mm.
and there's always so much to discover. So there's no point ever comparing or like, feeling, beating yourself about, I don't play as good as this because it's just something you have to like. Your instrument should be an extension of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like your friend, and that's like you're on a whole life journey with this
Mm-hmm.
thing. So always
Mm-hmm.
take it as that. So I never really compare myself or like ever try to like put any
Mm-hmm.
kind of pressure on me because I play music because I like playing music.
Right. Right. Um, was there any moment that one thing we've talked about, stage fright, and
Yeah.
it came pretty much early to you when you got this encouragement and you felt comfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
Was there
yeah.
any other fear growing up, anything that was a hurdle or kind of a challenge in your life?
Yeah, lots of them. I like, as I said, I was a
Yeah.
very shy kid.
Yeah.
So early on in my life, I missed a lot of opportunities also because I never spoke up, for a lot
Yeah.
of things. A lot of other kids would do this, that, whatever, just be shy and quiet. And a lot of things just passed me by like that.
Right.
And now this is like, from the perspective of a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
I used to think this would never go away. I'll never be able to speak up. And it felt like at the time, especially
Mm-hmm.
when I was like 9, 10 years old, that
Yeah.
this is going to be something that's going to follow me my entire life. And I'm always going to miss the train,
Oh
because
yeah.
of how shy I was. And it
Yeah.
felt like I'll never be able to, conquer this
Yeah.
thing on my back, though never being able to speak up and being so shy. But I think like this connects to the stage. I think that's also how I got uh, to the point being so comfortable on stage because at some point in my mind I realized that being so shy and being so introverted and quiet isn't doing me any favors.
Right.
So I think anytime I would have to get on stage, it would just that entire thing would just go away on its own because of the
Wow.
need inside
Mm-hmm.
screaming that no, you have to conquer this, you have to like get
Wow.
over this. So I think that's how it happened. And soon, like, as you grow up, all that stuff went away on its own.
Wow. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
this followed you for a while, even after you start playing at such an early age and all.
Yeah.
You still like in your daily life, you had to somehow conquer that thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a thing for a while, especially throughout my childhood.
Okay. And do you know, were you always like that, or was there some event that made you like that, or you would say it was like
Uh,
your nature?
it was just my nature, being
Nature.
very
Okay.
timid as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like I mean, as a kid, I was like always shy and quiet. I was
Yeah.
good into like I was into sports. I would
Right.
play on school teams and all that. So I don't know. It was like a very dynamic sort of thing because I at the same time, and this is like this maybe going off on a very deep tangent here, but
Yeah.
this kind of reveals something about human nature that you can be
Yeah.
two things at the same time. Because
Dichotomy. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
very much exists in any person's life
Yeah.
where it's not like the movies where if you're just shy and that's all you're gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have a shy side and also be a really good sportsman on the field or also be on stage playing music and all that. So
Right.
that duality
Duality.
exists
Yeah.
in all of us.
Yeah. In fact, so I was doing movies and stuff for the
Yeah.
first 20 years of my career, and I'm still gonna do movies
Yeah.
later. One of the things writing the character, if you want to write a deep
Yeah.
and a good character, it's not about how strong you made the character, but
Yeah.
when you add some flaw
Yeah.
into the character.
That's what people connect to.
Yeah, because that makes it human.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's this guy who preaches. Sometimes I think about my own family. This guy, my brother, he preaches, but then he'll go out hunting with his gun and all, where people can't put it together.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, he's this guy. He's supposed to be a preacher, pastor, and he has this such weird interest
Yeah.
where he can, without any empathy or feeling, he can go out and kill animals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't
because of like people are so attuned to like watching characters in movies, especially like older movies where everything was so I'm the good guy, I'm the bad guy, so like perfect black and white shades.
black and white. Yeah.
In real life, a lot of times those people have a hard time coping up with the fact that a person can have shades of gray mixed.
Exactly. Exactly, and it comes with time. It's in fact, the sooner you can make that observation, the better you'll be, because
yeah.
that'll save you from a lot of heartache,
Oh, it does.
disappointment,
Yeah.
and shattered
Yeah.
expectations and all of that.
Yeah.
Because I see the same person. I like the movie Crash in that way. Have you watched Crash?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's been a while, but it won the Best Picture, won
Right.
an Oscar for Best Picture. And there's this guy somewhere in the beginning of the film. He's a police officer,
Okay.
and he offends or sort of, inappropriately frisks a woman, a black woman, in the presence of her husband,
Oh,
where he cannot do it in normal, pulls him over and all that, where she is, of course, humiliated,
right.
right there. But in the end, there's a scene, and that's what Crash. So Crash has a physical meaning as well as metaphoric meaning in this.
Okay.
There's an actual crash on the freeway where this same officer goes out to save a life, and under that is the husband or the wife, I think so, of this couple, going to in a very dangerous situation,
Right.
where he has to rescue them out of the fire.
Okay.
So that's the dichotomy. Of course, in the film, he redeems himself because,
Yeah.
in the beginning, he's shown as a mean person who, in a way, abuses the freedom and the dignity of another race.
Yeah.
So there was this racial thing, but in the end, he redeems it.
redeems
That to say, what I liked, they didn't paint a picture as he's trying to redeem, but they painted it more on a human level, that every person has the capacity to do good as well.
Yeah.
And many times it is just the situation and a lot of things that make us. For example, our biases, our prejudice. Just recently this thing happened in Dehradun where somebody, beat up a guy from Northeast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah.
And so many biases happen and can escalate so quickly.
Yeah.
And yet we have people, from different parts of India just living harmoniously.
Yeah.
And we've had friends. So, yeah, I like the thing that you said, bringing it back to your thing, that you can be so shy and reserved. At the same time, you can have something so flamboyant and outgoing about you, or even at times aggressive.
Yeah.
That is amazing. How do you see yourself now? Do you think you still have that shy, reserved side of you, or are you? How would you see yourself in that aspect?
That is a really good question. Shy, not so much anymore, because because my entire my job, what I do involves meeting a lot of people, so I have to meet thousands of different people, new faces, pretty much every year. So because of that, shyness doesn't really have a thing. But yeah, maybe on the overall, I would still say I'm more of a sort of introverted sort of person, but I don't mind being an extrovert also. I can switch it up as and when I need it to. But on my own, I prefer the peace and quiet that comes with being in my own space, my own thoughts and my own hobbies and guitars and whatever I like doing. So I definitely prefer that more than, say, being surrounded by a lot of people.
How do you switch it up? When you said, okay, you can switch it up, how does that happen, that change?
Just living in the moment, especially say my friends call me up, all right, cool, I'll be there and just enjoy their company and just not stressing too much about, oh my God, people I have to be around. No, nothing like that. It's just just flowing with it. If I have to be because I can do both well. I've taught myself to do both well.
Okay.
And because of how my daily life is, being surrounded by a lot of people and mentoring a lot of young kids and all that. So because of that, I'm fairly used to both sides of things, because now I have to. I cannot afford to be an introvert fully. So
how can somebody, like a young person, how can somebody practice that? Is there any practical steps or things that you can share?
One of the things is just you just have to push yourself. Okay. If you feel yourself as, there's nothing wrong with being an introvert, of course. It has its own perks. But if you feel that it's taking away, especially this goes for a lot of young guys, it happens a lot of times. You'll miss a lot of opportunities. You'll miss a lot of things you would want to do. but because of being introverted, you
Mm-hmm.
miss those things. And then it's one of those things that because I have been that guy,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot
Mm-hmm.
of opportunities pass me by, and then later on at night, I'm just lying in bed, kicking myself over it. Why didn't I speak up? I could have. I was so close. Could have just spoken up. I could have just done that, just been there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so just think of the situation where you're lying in
Yeah.
your bed, like beating yourself over it. Instead, it's much easier to take that chance, put yourself out there, because like what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Just get rejected. Like rejection is something that you should never take personally, because
Yeah.
I believe in always having a mindset of abundance towards everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you never like just if something doesn't go your way, no big deal. There's always going to be the next one. So that's how I've rewired my mind to approach everything in life. It could be, say,
Yeah.
a job opportunity or whatever. If it doesn't happen, it's cool. The next one is going to come. I'm always in abundance in my own mind that it's fine, and never taking rejection personally. It happens, cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think at the core of all that is, and I say this as somebody who has struggled with very low self esteem at different points of my life, especially growing up. You just have to build your self esteem. And, like, self love is big these days.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about treating yourself to like piece of cake or something, or buying yourself
Yeah.
shopping, like things like that. And that's not self love. Self love would be being so comfortable in your own skin. And most of all, like a lot of self-esteem issues pop up from, like, somehow stem from other people,
Mm-hmm.
something somebody said to you, or feeling lonely and all that. So the number one thing is like learning how to be fulfilled in your own company, learning how to enjoy your own company the
Mm.
most, because that's when you reach a point
Right.
where it doesn't matter if you have people around you
Right.
or you have yourself, because you enjoy either way. You
Yeah.
like yourself so much.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just learning how to like
Mm-hmm.
yourself and filling your life with hobbies and things you enjoy doing, and always being really creative, productive. That is something that's going to break people out of their shells.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
especially like hobbies, I said, I'm a big proponent of especially with young people, telling them to get good hobbies. That's part of the reason why I also teach music,
Mm-hmm.
because that is an excellent hobby for young people to have. Other than that, I also encourage a lot of people to start hitting the gym,
Mm-hmm.
because self-esteem, the gym is one of the best combatants to, like, any kind of depression,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Anybody who's sad right now, just say get in the gym,
Yeah.
because it releases dopamine and like certain things in your body, and it elevates your mood. It's
Mm-hmm.
so good for that. And just being fit is one of the things I tell every young person, anybody I know, any age, that always stay fit.
Yeah.
Exercise is super important for the
Oh yeah.
mind and the body, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And just surround yourself with positive people, surround with your people you like, and
Mm-hmm.
things you like doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how you're going to be a pretty happy person, content person. You'll break out of any shell that you're in.
Right.
And I think the world rewards that. It's going to reward that if you're living your life that way.
Wow. That was awesome. Just in a little bit.
I just spoke off the cuff here.
Man, that was a whole motivational talk. I love that. I love that you shared so many things.
Yeah.
And I love the abundant mindset. I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way. That's so cool. That's something different for me in the way I've heard. Like anything, you think you have that, you have
Yeah.
rewired your mind to have that abundant
Yeah.
mindset.
And never be in scarcity with anything.
Yeah.
Whether it's there, I think that, like, faith comes into question, like
Okay.
into like the picture with that,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm always, because God is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And the Bible says, I come to give you life abundantly. So
Mm.
I can, with that promise, that is a promise from God. I really value that. So with knowing that, I I have completely eliminated scarcity from my mind, because everything is going to be in abundance, because that's what's promised from God.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just stick with that. And anybody listening to this right now, if you just adapt that mindset and just claim that promise of God over your own life,
Yeah.
that He came to give you life and life
Yeah.
abundantly,
Right.
everything is gonna come to you. Everything's going to come to you.
Yeah. And I've noticed that with my friends as well, growing up at different stages of my life, people who had scarcity mindset, even when they got money,
Yeah.
it was never there. They could
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
make anything of it.
Yeah.
It was like holding sand,
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are people who have had abundant mindset. Even in the times when they were low on money, they made it back and they were always getting more.
Yeah.
There is something, it's a principle that works.
Yeah.
And like you said, when Jesus mentions, I've come to give you abundant life. So we shouldn't have any scarcity in our minds.
A lot of times, like I think wealth is one of those things that is skin deep, but the scarcity mindset in people is bone deep. That's something, because sometimes people, as you said, sometimes people have wealth, but they still have that scarcity mindset, so that they're always trying to protect their wealth and just, being so obsessed with that. What if I lose it? What if they'll just worry their life, cause a lot of stress. And that is proven to be the downfall of so many people who've even made it and then lost it all. Is that stress.
And so I'm running a humanitarian program where I help widows as well. And some of the friends in the West, in Europe, and as well as US, the people who have given the most, you won't believe, are the ones who are not doing well financially. They are the ones who've given thousands of dollars or euros. And the richest people, one of the most successful people in our church, didn't give a dime. Didn't give a dime. Whereas we were in the same group, we were meeting, and it's not about like you want something, but not even a token. Then I think to myself, because here we're going to church, we're having Bible study, and he would say, "Oh, please pray for my business. It's not doing." And he would, in parties or in just get-togethers, he would brag about, "Oh, I made so many hundreds of thousands this year," and I couldn't put that together. I said, it's not, I don't think he's giving to anybody. And so I've experienced that the mindset, no matter how many, it's not about numbers or anything, it's the mindset.
And ultimately it's about the heart you have for people. To give. That is the most important thing, honestly. Like having like a big bank account and all those stocks and whatever going right for you doesn't mean anything if you just like you never want to help people. Don't want to give it back, some of it, to help somebody.
Right now, you're going to turn 30 in a few days, next month. So are there any, is there like some sort of transition or some sort of change? Or how's it going to be? What stage are you at right now in the last year of your 20s?
There's a song by a country artist named Tim McGraw. And I've been listening to this song quite a bit. It's been on my binge in the last few days. It's called My Next 30 Years. So the song is about a guy who's turning 30 and he's just reflecting on... so I'm kind of just basing my next 30 years, starting at 30, on that song. He just talks about like he's gonna, just try to like stop and smell the roses and just slow it down a bit in terms of just appreciating everything. And especially like, in the last year, just losing a very close friend to me at such a young age, all those things also really, put you into the mindset of really, even appreciating the most mundane, boring day of your life, but at least you're with your family there. At least you have your pets, your family around you. And because there might come a time where, if that goes away, you kind of think back on those very boring days and you just want them back and you can't have them back. So it's just like being really appreciative and grateful for every day, every little thing you have, things that are so easy to ignore and just kind of take them at face value. Yeah, it's there because they've always been there, but nothing is, especially seeing a very close friend of mine and go away so young. That has really like, rewired my perspective a little bit more towards appreciating, just things in daily life, which would just be, you just take for granted otherwise. So 30s is definitely going to be a decade of, building more meaningful relationships. And although like 20s, I already set a pretty good foundation into like taking care of myself, taking care of the mind, the body, and being also spiritually strong, and making God the foundation of my entire life, daily life, reading the Bible and all that stuff. So all of that is going to be there, but it's just going to be focused on building life, but with something really solid at the base. And honestly, for me, that is going to be Jesus. Using him as the centerpiece where who I build my life around. And this is probably going to be the decade I get married and have a family and all that stuff. So I definitely want God to be the center driving force behind it all, because once I give the keys to him, then I don't have to worry about anything, right? Everything is going to fall into place. Because on my own, like, we have our ideas, we have our things, and then life throws a curveball at us. Then in our human mind, we just scatter because we just don't know what to do. But knowing that somebody like Jesus is, like, leading you, taking your hand, and you're walking behind him, that is the best place to be in terms of, especially in the world right now. There's a lot of bad stuff happening everywhere. There's bad news at every turn. This happened here, there, whatever. So it's there's like in terms of the grand scheme of the world, it's going to be very terrible times ahead. But I'm not worried, because I know that my shepherd is going to be God. I'm going to be walking with him, and there's nothing to worry about as long as I stay in submission to his will. So yeah, I think for me, my relationship with God is going to be the number one thing that is going to be at the helm of the 30s that I'm going to be stepping into.
When did you start this relationship with God?
So like, I mean, I've been around it my whole life. Growing up, my parents are strong believers and all that. Um, I've had my ups and downs with my relationship with God, as anybody else. But there's been a lot of times I've doubted God. Like, you didn't do this for me. I have these conversations with God and all that. And I've had my ups and downs, but throughout it all, I always know he's still looking out for me, and he just always finds a way to remind me that he loves me. That is the most important thing, and that always keeps me coming back to him, because he always reminds me somehow, some way, that he's like, kid, I still got your back. I'm here watching over you always. And so with that, it's just how can I ever, not go back to him? Anything I need, I, and I've, because I try to build a relationship with him. So I, have a lot of internal conversations with God also. And I've, last few years especially, I've really started hearing him too.
Really?
Inside. You just, is that soft, still voice. I just know it's not my own voice. It's not my consciousness, or like my mind conjuring up something that I want to hear anyway. And it just, it's not that, because a lot of times it's given me directions, and a lot of times it told me to do things which I would never on my own. And all of those things have been good things. Not just for me, but for somebody else also. So yeah, sometimes I am guilty of ignoring that voice sometimes, and still, follow my own human whatever. But yeah, I do have that voice, and one of the things I want to do more is just like give into it more and listen and follow the intuition from God more and more. Because
That's very interesting. A lot of people, like, we often don't hear young people talking about having a relationship with God. And how can anybody have this relationship with God?
It's for
How does
everybody.
that work?
It's for everybody. It's for everybody to have. All you have to do is just ask, and you'll receive. That's in the Bible.
Yeah. Ask and receive.
Ask and receive. It's as simple as that. There's no, you don't have to qualify. You don't have to, like, check off these many things to have that relationship. All you have to just do is just, reach out to Jesus and be like, here I am. That's it.
That's very
That's
interesting, because for me, a lot of times when we see around us, most of the time it's kind of a monologue, right? People going and doing stuff, and crying out to God, or doing things, taking alms or sacrifices or different things. But that it's a relationship is a very um, not new, of course. For me
Yeah,
personally, I am in a relationship, but for a lot of people, this is unusual that it's a two-way communication.
yeah,
It's just not a one-way
yeah,
train. It
absolutely.
has both ways. And like you said, that's very interesting. That way, where you're clear. It's not a
Yeah,
voice in your head.
no,
It's not a
absolutely not.
voice of your consciousness or
Yeah,
something
and
like that.
and it's not like I'm
Yeah,
religious or anything.
yeah,
I'm like the farthest person from like
yeah,
religion
yeah,
like that. But I just believe in having a relationship with Jesus. It's just like he's my friend,
yeah,
and I take him everywhere with me, and he's there watching out for me, and I talk to him like a friend.
yeah.
And that is the entire my entire spiritual life is around that relationship.
Right.
Everything else, I'm not the perfect Christian. I make
Yeah.
a lot of mistakes and all that. Everybody else, nobody's perfect, but it's just I just love and cherish that relationship I have with Jesus directly, and I think that is something that is for everybody to have.
Right.
It's just all you have to do is just reach out your hand, and He's always gonna take you by the hand. You just have to be, friends with Jesus, and that's it.
What have you received or seen the change in your life after you've started this relationship with Jesus?
Honestly, we have a lot of, especially young people, young men these days have a lot of stresses, a lot of worries.
Yeah.
All of that has completely been lifted off me. I just don't worry about anything. I don't
Wow.
worry about money. I don't worry about relationships. I don't worry about practically anything in life.
Wow.
So I think that in this day and age,
Yeah.
for somebody to say that they don't worry about anything, and that is not because of me or because
Yeah.
of anything else, it's because of my relationship with God. So like that has been the best thing I've received out of it. Just being worry free.
So worry free.
Yeah.
Or even sometimes when something comes, it doesn't feel that heavy on you that
Yeah.
it can crush
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah, of course, things happen in
Yeah.
life and you feel bummed out, and all of
Yeah.
that does happen. But at the end of the day, like, that light is always still there. You just know, even if something bad comes, something good is going to come out of it. Anytime, sometimes friends or like people I know, they share certain things that didn't happen the way they planned or whatever.
Yeah.
I always tell them the same thing,
Yeah.
that this might have gone wrong, but I just believe anything that bad happens, or something you didn't get, or something you wanted or wanted for a long time, it didn't happen, is simply because something better has to come. So
Right.
that one thing you thought is good for you, something even better is there in the pipeline. So you just got to trust that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's all about the mindset, really. It's just having that mindset that, never being too like pessimistic, or just always believing something good is going to happen. Even if something bad happens, something good is going to come out of it. And always seeing a lesson in every single failure. That is the most important thing. Like anytime you fail, instead of just sinking down that hole, drowning with it, and just learn your lesson. And I think that takes a lot of self-awareness. Being self-aware is very important. You have to be able to check in with yourself, look in the mirror, and really see where you're at, and be able to really uh, get to know how you react to certain things, how you are, because everybody's different that way.
Yeah.
So you really have to be self-awareness is a thing. A lot of people are not self-aware. I've noticed this in a lot of people.
Right.
They're just not self-aware. Everything is because I think what really helps me be more self-aware is not being reactive, but being proactive. So living proactively with the world instead of just reacting to external stimuli, and I just flow with it. Then you're going to be rocked all over the place, and you wouldn't know what to do. And eventually that builds up a lot of bitterness in people, and they end up blaming everybody else for things that happen, instead of being self-aware, realizing this is where I messed up, this is what I should have done, and just learning that and trying to do better the next time around. I think it's all about mindset, really. I think all of this is just converging into just having a mindset where rejection is never taken personally. Setbacks are always, just brushed aside, and you always hope for that something better is coming. And just doing whatever you can to stay fit, keep yourself healthy, and just staying happy in things you do, and getting hobbies that you enjoy doing. And I think that anybody who does that, like your life will change, especially if you've gone through certain hard times or like bouts of depression, sadness. Just try it. Just try it. I don't know if it's going to work for everybody. It works for me. So I can at least tell people you can at least try this out. It's a way for you to really, get out of that rut.
You've been a mentor, you've helped a lot of people, young people, and recently you've started a channel as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Talk a
yeah,
little
yeah.
about your channel. What's it about?
So my channel is about
Yeah.
music, since that music is something that I always come back to music. Everything, I tell people, I joke with people that my entire life, my professional life at least, has always revolved around a guitar in some way. Every bit of money I've ever made in my life has involved a guitar somehow, whether it's playing the guitar, whether it's my store where I sell guitars, repair guitars, or teach guitar, everything has revolved around the guitar or music in some way. So my channel, it started from a place of not exactly just being another one of like, endless content creators
Yeah.
just putting stuff out there. No, it was from a place of genuine, because I saw the rise of AI music coming up, and my channel is, of course, going to be more about general music. It's going to be guitar videos and all that, but the first few videos have been about AI music. So I wanted to spark up a conversation about that in particular, because since it's a fairly new thing, a lot of these apps have come up which generate music. So I wanted to listen to insights from other musicians, what they think about it. And the best way to do is the internet. Of course, you just put content out there and people are going to reach out to you and like, tell them what they think about it. So it was just from a place of really being curious, like what other people might be thinking about this and getting to know the perspective of how this affects the industry. So I just posted a video about that, and it was like, I got pretty good feedback. Right now, my channel is still a baby of the internet, but I was so surprised that first video from a completely unknown new channel, like, got a lot of like replies from people and really detailed comments. Like,
Wow.
people are really, it's not like one word, like cool, thumbs up or whatever. People are really, really writing paragraphs, breaking it down and giving their own input. And so that was my main purpose. And then once you see that happening, you kind of want to, put more content out there, because once you see like people are reacting to your stuff,
Right.
and it's adding value to people's lives,
Right.
so it keeps the ball rolling, basically.
What did that AI video invoke in the audience that they responded with such exuberance?
I think is one of the things is because nobody was really talking about it on YouTube. I before I put that video, because I wanted to know. First, it was like from a consumer standpoint, where I wanted to just see, but I didn't see too much content about it at the time I posted that. So I was like, okay, if nobody else is asking that question, let me do it, because I want to know.
Right.
So I just put it out there, and there was a lot of feedback on it, and I really enjoyed that. And of course, because filming videos and content creation, it's a creative process, and like anything to do with like being productive and creative like this always draws me in. So I'm very fond of like, any kind of creative outlet I can do. So it's been fun filming videos, learning how the camera works, and setting up lights and this, that. It's been a learning process. So before I did that, the month prior to it, it was just geeking out on any possible like forum or video I can find to how to set this up, how this works, that works, just setting up a basic like simple little structure for filming videos. So that was a lot of fun for me, and getting the gear and all that.
Wow. So what is your aim? You're also sharing, of course, it's going to be mainly about music, right?
Yeah.
But you are sharing a lot of wisdom also. And I think you're turning 30. I mean, you've got a lot of wisdom growing up, with family and with the circumstances and performing and all that.
People have always told me I've been an old soul.
You're like, the way you're talking for that age, not a lot of young people talk like that. So I can truly vouch for that you have, garnered a lot of experience along the way. So are you also going to talk about some of the wisdom, some of the mindset thing on that channel as well for young people?
You know what? This conversation right now has inspired me to do that, because a lot of stuff that's pouring out of me right now, even I'm surprised. We didn't prepare this. We didn't prepare any of this.
This is so amazing. This is like, there's so much in you to share that I would say pour it out, brother. Pour it out.
I used to
Yeah.
have a self-help
Yeah.
channel way back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, then I did it for a bit. Then I got busy with music, and it
Yeah.
stopped. But yeah, it was. I think a lot of that side of myself is also pouring out. And although
Yeah.
now I can do it much better, because 2018 I was what, 21, 22
Mm-hmm.
years old, versus like stepping into 30s now. So I have a
Yeah.
much better perspective, especially towards young people,
Right.
especially because now I've passed that stage.
Mm-hmm.
So I can now confidently tell them at least that
Yeah.
certain lessons and mistakes and pitfalls I've fallen into, so they
Right.
can avoid those mistakes and just be better than I was at that
Absolutely.
age.
Mm-hmm. And today the youth need that. There's a lot
Yeah,
of, I mean, we look at social media, there's so much trolling, this and
yeah,
that,
yeah.
negativity, and we need people like you to step up and share some
Same with
wisdom.
you, with
Yeah.
the entire
Right.
theme of this podcast being courage.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
reflecting on the word courage because I know this is the theme of the podcast. So, I had this thought,
Mm-hmm.
and this is my perspective, of course, but sometimes courage is like, let's try to redefine courage a little bit. So, because when people think of courage, it's always associated with like this grandiose act of heroism,
Yeah.
but sometimes courage, and it's always associated with like stepping up to something, stepping up, but
Yeah.
sometimes courage is also stepping down from things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always like stepping into or like stepping up, being a hero, saving the day. Of course, that is all acts of courage, but sometimes stepping down and saying no to certain things. It's saying no to drugs, it's saying no to bad company, it's saying no to things that are going to destroy you. So I think all those things also require a lot of courage, especially these days with young people, peer pressure. And peer pressure is one of those things that's very less talked about, but it's one of those things that drives a lot of young people into a lot of stuff that destroy
Yeah.
their lives.
Yeah.
So I think it takes a lot of courage to be around people who are egging you on to do something that is not going to be good for you, but to step back. That is also an act of courage.
Wow, that was profound. Saying no,
Yeah.
that also takes a lot of courage.
Like anybody watching this, coming from a shy kid who
Yeah.
wouldn't speak up, and no would be saying no to somebody would be a big, big, big task.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things I learned, learning how to say no, learning how, and and it all ties up to building a really good self-esteem by learning how to love yourself. Because when you love yourself, when you have a very healthy self-esteem with yourself, you're not going to care about if you say no to somebody telling you to do something that's going to be bad for you if they think you're not cool. That is the thing with a lot of young people. A lot of young people get into things that are bad for them because if they reject it, if they decline it, they're not going to be cool, and their group is going to be laughing at them, or just they're going to ostracize them, or they're going to be the uh, like the uptight little,
Yeah.
sort of person that everybody is like, they're no fun, the party pooper and all that. So you're not going to be uncool. Nobody's uncool if you say no to somebody or something that is
Yeah.
not good for you. That is an act of courage, and you're doing
Yeah.
yourself a favor. And perhaps at some point later down the line,
Yeah.
that other person is going to respect you for it, because
Yeah.
they'll eventually, if somebody's into anything bad or like harmful,
Yeah.
everybody comes to that crossroad
Yeah.
at some point of their life where
Right.
they do realize that it's not good, and
Yeah.
then they'll think of you, oh, that person at that point of time said no, and at the time I laughed at them. So
Yeah.
perhaps you'll get a call from them to be like, hey, you were onto something there, perhaps I should not have made fun of you.
Yeah.
These kind of things happen. These things have happened to people I know
Yeah.
who have later on received calls from people being like, apologizing, or just realizing that they laughed at somebody who turned down something,
Yeah.
and later on they themselves realized. So that crossroads comes for everybody.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
young people, is just like peer pressure is one of those things that just
Yeah.
it's very uh leads to dark leads you to dark places.
Yeah.
Because I've been, especially being a musician, especially like I started out my professional career in 2018. So this was I'm probably like 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
So at the time, the music industry, showbiz itself is a very dark place. You meet a lot of people who are gonna wanna get you into a lot of dark places and a
Yeah.
lot of like bad things. They'll tell you to do drugs and this, that, whatever. So I think developing that integrity
Right.
and knowing that you can say no to all those things
Yeah.
and you're still going to be cool, because the real, like, being cool isn't getting drunk or like just partying it up with the crowd and all that stuff. Being somebody who's really cool is somebody who's really comfortable in their own skin and they own who they are and they
Yeah.
stick to what they believe in and their morals. That is the real cool thing that the world needs more of these days.
Wow, that's so true. So true. And that's one of the hardest things to do that requires
Yeah,
a lot of
a lot
courage.
of courage, a lot of courage,
Yeah.
especially for young people.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the other things that these days people in their late teens or 20s are facing? One of them you just mentioned, peer
Yeah,
pressure. A
peer
lot of it.
pressure is big.
What are other things that is affecting our youth today?
Another thing that is just comparison. Because of social media,
Yeah.
everybody's I'll break it down. People, like some young kid watches somebody's story,
Yeah.
somebody's on vacation, this, that, and they start feeling bad about their life. Or seeing somebody, if somebody who's feeling lonely, wants a relationship, sees somebody's a couple or something, they start feeling bad. It's a lot of comparison, social media. But like, and I think the biggest provocator of comparison is social media, because social media has given us access, like it's like a window into like god knows how many people's lives, thousands and thousands of random people we see.
Right.
But you have to realize that it is just a image, it's just a snapshot of a moment of somebody's life where it can be fabricated. You don't know if it's real. Like that couple you see posting looking all happy, you don't know if they just fought like 5 minutes after that picture was taken, or what's actually going on in their relationship. But the viewer just sees that one happy picture and immediately that comparison starts. Look at me, I am so lonely, and look at them, they're so happy, and sees 3 4 more people like that, and just getting into comparison. So I think comparison is one of those things these days. There's a lot of it, of
Yeah.
course. Social media is the biggest asset to, like, causing people to do that. So never compare yourself. You don't need to compare yourself, because your competition should only be yourself. Just it's all about getting better than who you were yesterday and not worrying about anybody else.
Absolutely.
Really,
Yeah.
that just only be your own competitor. Try to learn things daily. Whatever you're doing, get better at it, practice at it. And if you compare, you're gonna despair. That's the best way I can put it. So
Oh yeah,
comparison
if
is
you
very
compare,
bad.
you're gonna despair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. As somehow, how are the ways that we can avoid it? Are there some tricks to or steps that we can avoid comparing when we live in this kind of connected life where we're plugged in? And do we have to? That means like pull off the plug, or what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like social media detoxes are a big thing. These a lot of people do
Okay.
that. So I think it is good for everybody to once in a while step off social media. And a lot of people do that. Like a simple way is just like your phone has this setting these days where it can limit the amount of activity time you spend on an app. So you can set a timer for it, maybe 1 hour. Because forget comparison. A lot of it is just like what they call doom scrolling these
Doom
days.
scrolling,
It's just a waste of time just scrolling away anyway, watching like bunch of reels or whatever all day. Because I challenge anybody right now to pick up your phone and go through the settings of Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and actually see the time you spend on those apps. Those numbers are going to shock you. It's going to be a lot of hours. And you actually, if you start realizing the stuff, the productive stuff you could have done with that time, it adds up to a lot of hours per week.
Yeah.
So just maybe just limiting that, and just like focusing on being the like being the central point of your own life and not really looking at other people.
Right.
And a lot of that also comes from some place inside of people where you're not happy with yourself. That's why you compare, right?
Yeah.
So just build a life that you can be proud of, build a life that you can be happy with and content with. And just gratitude is the most important part of it. Like whatever you have, be grateful for it. And comparison just ends the moment you start doing that. It ends completely. Like if I see a friend of mine doing well, I'm just happy for them, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy. Like, hey, cool. Like this guy's living it up, living his life. I'm never gonna be like, oh, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So never drag yourself into that equation ever. If you see somebody posting a nice picture, nice vacation in the Bahamas or whatever, just be like, cool. That is really nice. Like this person, they've been working so hard. They deserve it. Enjoy yourself, and it's just an attitude shift. If you see something nice with somebody, just feel happy for them, and don't involve yourself into that. I could have been there, or like, why doesn't it happen? Just take yourself out of it and just focusing it on being happy for somebody else. Comparison just stops.
Cool. How does discipline look like for you, like practically on a daily basis?
So like I'm a big proponent of believing that beyond motivation, discipline is the thing that really keeps things stable, the stability in your life. Because motivation, a lot of people chase motivation these days. I've had friends who reach out to me every now and then, and they just say, I'm only talking to you because I need motivation, because I need to do this. I'm like, if you need motivation, then because what happens a lot of times there, you hype them up. They walk away from that conversation feeling so amped up, ready to take on the world. 2 days later, they're not doing anything. Because that's where discipline comes in. I'll like equate it to just working out. So I've been working out for 10 years now, and there's been no off seasons, no off times. Very strict with it. Is because it's a discipline, because I know this is something that is good for me, and I have to do it regardless of anything. So today was a cold winter day. Before I came, I was in the gym. Very cold winter day, didn't feel like working out, but it just, discipline is what makes you do something completely not based on how you're feeling. Because if you're always going to depend on if you're motivated, how you're feeling, nothing's going to get done. Things might get done like 20 days of the year. That's it. The days you felt amped up or whatever it happened, and then you're going to slide back. So discipline is the most important thing. It's just creating this routine. Routine is a very important thing. Like I like to tell people I'm very boring in my personal life. Like people associate musicians with like, oh, he's going to be at parties, he's always going to, no, I'm actually the most boring person. I like routine. I like that structure in my life, knowing that this time of the day I'm going to be doing this. This is my gym time. This is when I'm at my business. This is where I'm going to be practicing. This is my recreational time. I like having a very boring routine. And like the thing is, I don't care who thinks I'm boring, because it works for me. I have a lot of productive activities, a lot of proactive activities like working out, staying fit, eating healthy, and all that. So yeah, that keeps me happy, and discipline is the biggest reason I'm able to maintain it. If it was motivation, I would do it for 2 weeks, and that'd be that.
Right. Yeah. I think so. It's about what you said, discipline, and being consistent. And what you said, whether you feel like it or not, showing up.
You just got to do it.
You got to do it, every day, every single day.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah. Was there any time in your life, we talked about self-esteem a little growing up, but in your 20s now, was there any time, an area of self-doubt?
Many. Self-doubt is just something that just creeps on you, like it's easy to hear somebody, being positive and all that. Sometimes it's the most positive people who still go through those things. I do. Everybody does. Even like even the strongest people have that, because that's part of being human. It happens to everybody. And I've had a lot of moments of self-doubt throughout various points of my life. And that covers all aspects of life, be it music, be it like my profession,
Mm-hmm.
be it relationships, being it dating, be it friendships, being it family, being it everything. There's a lot of self doubts with a lot of things that creep up, and it sucks. It's one of those things that you know just does. It's like a gut punch every time.
Yeah.
If sometimes you feel you've got it all figured out, you're doing well, and you're doing all the things you need to do, and something happens. Suddenly, there's a wrench gets thrown in your plans, and everything just scatters, and you're just like, "What now?" And that is when self doubt does creep in, and you're like, "Okay, am I good enough for this? Am I going to be able to handle this? Whatever." So for me, in those moments,
Yeah.
like as we talked before,
Yeah.
I just rely on God
Mm-hmm.
because I am defeated. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I am doubting myself. I don't think I'm going to be able to handle this, but I know somebody who can and somebody who never fails. So that is where God just kicks in. So having a relationship with God just helps. For me, at least personally in my life, it's been the anchor for those days where you're just doubting yourself, because I know like like where I'm putting my trust in God, Jesus. He's somebody who's never going to fail. He's somebody who's never had a record of ever failing.
Yeah.
So I can fail, I can have self-doubt, fine, but he won't. So I just, take it. Like as he says, give me your yoke,
Yeah.
and he'll give you his. And his is much easier to bear.
To bear. Yeah.
And so that is, it just keeps coming back to faith for some reason, because it's all tied up.
Yeah.
It's all tied up, especially a lot of young people and the problems you have and everything. I think God has the answer to everything. To be honest, that is the. I like to use this word a lot in my vocab. It's called panacea. Panacea just means the answer to everything.
Panacea.
Panacea. So yeah,
Is
God
it a
is the.
Greek word or?
I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, it could be Greek. But God is just like the panacea to all your problems as a young person.
Wow.
It's just, yeah. And I don't say this as a religious sort of message or whatever. I'm a young guy like anybody else. I have my moments. I have my mistakes. I have, my fall downs and all that, just as much as anybody else does. But I just love this relationship I have with God, and that is not coming from a place of holier than thou. I'm better than, no, absolutely not. I mess up the most, probably more than anybody else watching this, but it's just knowing that I am not enough on my own. I need somebody to guide me, because I don't know. I don't have the answers all to myself. So that's why I lean on God. That is my basis for my relation, not to feel better than anybody, because I'm not, but it's just because I need it. That's the best way I can, because I need it. I'm the one who needs it. He doesn't need me.
Ricky, what's your greatest fear?
Oh, my greatest fear. Let me think about this one. So my greatest fear, of course, is nothing like snakes or something. Could have quoted Indiana Jones on that one. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? My greatest fear right now, I think that is an answer that could change, but my greatest fear would just um, just perhaps being away from my relationship with Jesus somehow. Sometimes very bad things happen to people sometimes, and they just tear it away. So that would be my greatest fear to ever be. But I also, at the same time, the moment I say this, I also know that's never going to happen, because I might have those moments, but God says He will never leave you. So honestly, that's nothing to fear, to be honest. So let's probably go with like getting attacked by a saber-toothed tiger or something. Let's just go with that.
That's a good one. Even though the probability is pretty slim.
Pretty low, but it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. Cool. Is there a weakness that you're still working on in yourself where you think you have to improve?
Yeah, many. There's so many. There's always going to be areas in everybody's lives where, areas where you're very strong. And I have many areas where I'm very strong and very sorted out and all that. But there's, of course, many areas where I feel like I could do better. I need to pull up my socks in this regard and all that. one of those things, off the bat would be I'm not a morning person, so I could definitely start, becoming a morning person because it's healthier.
Right.
And one of my weaknesses is staying up way too late, way past. I'm up at unholy hours, but that comes from a place of like creativity because it's like I feel 24 hours is too less for me. Like I have so much
I
because
used to say that at one point in my life, but as you get older, you
yeah.
can ask my friend here. He said sleep is one of the non-negotiables,
Yeah.
where you got to get your
Oh
proper
yeah,
hours of sleep.
absolutely.
Yeah.
As I
Yeah.
close inching towards 30, I do realize that. Like staying up till 5 a.m. when I was
Oh,
20,
mamma
much
mia.
easy.
Yeah.
Nowadays, not so much. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely like it's my bedtime is getting earlier and
Okay.
earlier as I do age. But I just feel I have so much to do. And
Yeah.
I'm a creature of the night. I love the nighttime. I love the peace and quiet that comes with it, just to play my guitar, work out a lot of stuff on my technique, or just, watch movies, just doing regular things.
Right.
I play video games sometimes, so I'm just gaming or just playing guitar and just doing all that. So I just love the night. But yeah, that is a weakness because I do see the benefits in sleeping early, especially as you age. That is definitely something everybody needs to work on, and being more of a morning, getting up earlier, getting
Right.
started. So yeah, that is definitely a big weakness I need to work on.
You talked about games. What do you play?
I'll tell you a story linking back to my childhood.
Yeah.
That's how I got started. Like, so one day my dad got this, at the time, these NES consoles. Here we just call them video games with
Yeah.
Mario and
Right.
Contra and all
Yeah.
that, those sort of things. So that's how I got started gaming. And we had a computer way back in the early
Yeah.
2000s, like.
Right.
It had all these simple games, Bubble Bobble, Pac-Man, and all
Yeah.
this stuff. So that's how I got into gaming. And my dad would play games with us. So like,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun playing games with him. And that's how my love for gaming kind of, got there. And as I grew up, I got a PlayStation 2 at the time. Still the best console to date.
Right.
That's my opinion. But yeah, I played a lot of games on it. Like wrestling was a thing for me. Wrestling, a lot of racing games, fighting games, Tekken, Street Fighter, and all that stuff. All the stuff people play. And then for many years, I completely went out. Like I
Oh, yeah.
didn't do any kind of gaming because that was the time. Like this is between high school till till COVID.
Okay.
So that time was just spent on skills, learning, my
Okay.
school and
Right.
uni and all that, studying and getting better at guitar and skills. So I practically didn't do any gaming for like a good span of 9 years. But during COVID, everybody's at home, nothing to do.
Yeah.
You're just like everybody's reconnecting with old hobbies and all that. So I picked it up, and yeah, I'm not a hardcore gamer like that. Yeah, this is something that I could tell young people who are big into gaming. Like maybe you could adapt this way of playing. I play games as pure recreation and as a reward sort of thing. Like I'm never going to spend 8-9 hours just sitting on my couch playing games all day because that is a waste of time if you do it that way. It's like once I know I've finished all my tasks for the day and I've done all the productive things, I've worked out all that. At the end of the day, that's when I'll sit down, put on a game, and I'll play for maybe an hour or two, and that's about it for me. It's never about like just obsessively playing because it quickly becomes
An addiction.
an addiction and a very unhealthy hobby to have.
Yeah.
But it can be a very good recreational hobby as well. Like I think even who's the guy who played Superman? Henry Cavill. He's also a big gamer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So like I was watching something about him. He plays games the same way. It's like it's a great hobby because you learn a lot from games. There's like it's covering all kind of historical timelines. So you do pick up a lot of things. But it becomes a very bad hobby if all you do is just sit on the couch and game and you don't do any kind of exercise, no physical. It's bad then. So any gamers watching this, try to take care of life first and then game at the end of the day. It feels so much better because then you've earned that time.
Earned that. I like that. When you work towards it and towards when you finish the task for the
It
day,
feels so much better.
then
you feel so accomplished.
Oh yeah, yeah. So why I was so interested is we for the first time in our household got a PS5.
Okay.
My kids have been after me for the last 1 or 2 years. I said, no, first, I want to keep them away from media
Yeah.
and just allow them a 1 hour of media time. We call it the medium, whether it's TV, watching TV,
Yeah.
or being on the phone. The total media time is not more
That
than
is
one
very
hour.
good.
And they've been pretty consistent with that,
Yeah.
So I said, okay. And they got 2 games to pick. One is, I'm forgetting the name, Horizon or something.
Horizon, yeah.
I haven't played it.
Forbidden
And the other
West,
one is
I played it.
FC26. It's a football game.
Football, yeah.
Yeah, so both the kids are, I mean, the oldest one also, okay, but the middle one is a big football fan. So he's
Okay.
enjoying it
Oh, yeah,
these
yeah,
days.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we allow, okay, sometimes it goes over. So we've broken the rule of 1 hour because of the game. He said, Papa, just let this game finish. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
And he's
I recently finished Horizon last summer.
Really?
Yeah, you definitely need more than an hour to get into it.
Okay. So yeah, they're enjoying that. But I like the approach of, that you use it as a reward, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And it can be a motivational tool as well towards the end of the day,
yeah.
You reward yourself something after accomplishing.
Exactly. It feels so much better. I've had days where I've on a day off, maybe game for like 4 or 5 hours straight. But honestly, at the end of those sessions, I just feel exhausted.
Right.
It feels so like I need activity in my day. I need I feel incomplete if sometimes it happens on like Sundays. I have my rest day from the gym and I'm off work and all that. Even though I know I've worked the entire week and then I have this, it's still like there's always this itch and why didn't you do anything today? Like by 7 p.m. I'm like, it feels something feels off. So I've trained my body to be so active with things. So the days I'm off, they actually do deserve that rest. So I have to remind myself that no, it's cool. You did it for 6 days in a row. Rest today. It's Sunday. Take the day off is good for you.
Yeah.
So but it just keeps keeping yourself busy and occupied is the most important thing for anybody. Because
absolutely.
I just heard the quote today. I can't recall where, but like motion is lotion.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Motion is lotion.
Motion is lotion.
Absolutely.
It's very important to keep yourself. The same applies to like old people as well. The old people who keep themselves active, they live much longer lives, much healthier lives.
True.
It's so important to always be in motion. Always be doing something.
Yeah. But in a sense where you are not just busy being.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I just read about something this morning as well where deep work is so important than just being busy. Because you can be busy for 10 hours or 12 hours and not achieve anything.
Right.
It's better to do like real focused, concentrated, deep work for 2 or 3 hours to accomplish something. But I like that thing of motion. It's meaning you're active. You're active. It doesn't mean you're just being a busybody. But you're being active. And as you age, I mean, I can definitely vouch for that. In terms of activity, as well as physically moving, going places, walking. It doesn't, okay, I don't go to the gym right now. I used to go to the gym, but I try to be active, move around a lot. If I have to do something, go shopping, walk to the store here, back, walk to the cafe, back, up and down these stairs, try to, and I got this watch, so it counts the steps.
I've been doing that I did have walking as part of my daily anyway, but now I've been like seeing the steps. It's like nice to see at the end of the month the stats like, today I walked this much. So it's a lot of fun doing that.
It works as a motivation, tool.
It is.
We went, to Karnatal on the 29th and we stayed over New Year's Eve as well, came back on the 1st. And so that day those days we went for a trek. And that was probably the first time when my watch crossed 20,000 steps
20,000
since
steps.
buying it.
Wow.
I bought it in June last year. So on my birthday, gifted myself, or my wife bought it, same account. We use the same account. So it went from the same account. But this was the first time 20,000 steps.
Is impressive.
Yeah. But you know what I think? It's not so much about the step even. It's about whether you get 10,000, 12,000, you be consistent. Now, what's the point of 20,000 steps if I've been sitting on my stool and just being a couch potato, having chips? It doesn't help. So somebody told me, a guy in Germany, and he did Ironman several times. After 40, after he crossed 40, he did Ironman. And he said, Vikram, what you do, it's about being consistent.
Yeah.
You don't go to the gym. I'll tell you what, don't put a high target
Yeah.
on yourself.
Yeah.
Start with whatever. And what I'll tell you is every single day, do these few exercises. So he
Yeah.
told me squats.
Yeah.
Don't put that you have to do 100 squats or something or 50 push-ups. He said, whatever you can do it just getting out of bed on your floor there, do these many squats, if you can do 10 push-ups, do 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
He says, but do every single day.
I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Please.
I mean, I've been a big advocate for gym. Like anytime any guy friend of mine has any problem, like, dude, hit the gym.
Right.
You broke up with somebody, hit the gym. You lost your job, hit the gym. Whatever you do, because it just solves a lot of problems because it elevates your mood and all that. But with the gym, I've noticed a lot of things. A lot of friends of mine, I've seen this happen to a lot of people. They fall off. Especially right now. Jan is like the peak. The newer resolutioners, everybody's in the gym. And by March, everybody's gone. That happens because a lot of people have like overcomplicated their gym routines. This is why I have been, as somebody, now I can talk with authority on this because I've been doing it for 10 years now. 2015 I started, it's 11 years going to be. The reason I've been consistent, of course, discipline, but it's also because I made it very simple, something easy to do.
Right.
I've had friends who've joined the fanciest gym in town, which is like 40 minutes away from their house.
Right.
How long can you sustain that?
No.
2 months? Barely. Then they fall off. Or people go on these really fancy diets.
Yeah.
They have to have this much prep and all that.
Yeah.
And that is something you cannot sustain.
Right.
You'll do it for a month, a few weeks, 2 months. That's it.
Yeah.
But it is something that you have to be able to do 24/7, 365. So that is only achievable when you keep it really simple. Really simple. True. So for me, I've got, I used to go to the public gym as well for many years.
Yeah.
But now since I got into my business, I've got my home set up.
Right.
Just nothing too fancy, nothing too elaborate. Just basic dumbbells and a bench and all that. And I know the exercises, what all to do. Very simple equipment, very simple stuff. And I keep myself fit because it's that simple. It's not like I have to go to the Gold's Gym, which is like 30 minutes from my house every day. I'm there stuck in traffic. At the end of the month, I'm like, that's it for me. It's too much of a hassle going there. And same with food. Keep it very simple and something which I know that I can easily do for the entire year.
Wow.
Versus something, a fancy diet I can only maintain for a month. So that is, simplicity is the key actually, keeping it really basic.
Tell us a little about your routine, like what kind of exercises you do, a couple of exercises that can benefit anybody of any age.
Honestly, the compound movements are like your best friend. They're gonna just, it's not just compound movements, like especially a lot of if you're talking lifting, then of course do your squats, do your bench presses and deadlifts, all compound movements which hit different parts of the body. But it's not just liftings. You don't need to lift to be fit. Of course, motion, as we talked before, walk, go on a run or whatever, and just push-ups, sit-ups, and chin-ups. That's it.
Okay.
Anybody who does, start with push-ups and start with 10 a day. 10 a day, make it 15 and increase it a little bit. And that is really important. And one of the things that the moment I turned 25, I started doing, and this is gonna be very helpful for a lot of people watching this, whether you're somebody my age or older. The first thing that a person starts losing as they get older, and this is very sneaky because it just happens and you don't even realize when it happened, is your mobility in your joints. It's a lot of basic stuff like, knees, lower back. That happens to a lot of sitting and all that. So it's just, I made it a point the day I turned 25 that I'm going to focus an extra deal of time every week, every day on stretching, on like really making sure I have mobility in my shoulders, my knees, all my joints and all that. So I have very good flexibility. Not like I can do a full split of anything. I could somewhat at some point when I was like training martial arts, but just focusing on basic stretching, like just being able to touch your toes, and Shoulders is something people lose. There's there's 2 or 3 ways to check if you're losing mobility in your shoulder.
Right.
One of this, like, just like try clasping your hands from the back like this,
Right.
from the back like this, and if you can touch, that means your shoulders lack mobility. So you can do a lot of. There's a lot of corrective exercises and stretches which don't require equipment, don't require weights, don't require the gym, and they're very accessible for anybody to do. You don't have to be fit also. And these things just help mobility in your body. So I think for anybody, mobility, work on it because it's sneaky. It's you're 35 one day, 40, and suddenly you can bend without a pain in your back or whatever. Because when you're young, we don't realize these things. It just happens. You think everything's going to be cool. I'm young. I'll handle it. I'm doing things, but it happens. It creeps up on you. So I think the younger you start with corrective exercise and stretching and all these sort of things, because the gym for me has never been about becoming the Incredible Hulk, bulking up, or I'm not competing in competitions. I'm not going to bodybuilding and all that. It's always been about making like developing a tough, durable body and having really good, excellent flexibility, mobility, and just being building a physique or building a body that is going to make my old age, or like my 40s and 50s and 60s a joy to be around, with no pains and aches and all those things that happen to people.
Yeah, absolutely. As a young man today, do you feel pressure in terms of succeeding or being strong or being perfect? Do you feel any sort of pressure?
I used to at one point.
Yeah.
I used to at one point. And now not so much, because you can only pressurize yourself so much and be under the weight of all these expectations people have, or just general expectation of what I need to be as a man and all that.
Yeah.
There's only so much worrying you can do about it, because I know living life just from the being on the ground. All you can really do is just focus on today. All you have is today, just to focus on today. And I wake up and I do all I can. Whatever I can do to make myself have a productive day, focus on things, practice my guitar and run my business, work out, eat clean and all that. So I'm doing all I can on the ground level to be productive and all that. And by the time I sleep, I'm pretty satisfied.
Okay.
So I think it's just taking one day at a time, doing all you can in that day to making sure that you have the best possible day. I think this leads me to something that I also heard from somebody. Not sure, I've forgotten who it was. I would give them credit. It was some band member from some really famous band. But they had this quote, like, every day you wake up, just think of what is the best thing I can do today, and do that. Think of the best possible thing you could do that day. It could be I could go for a run. It'd be really nice for me, and just do that. Just one thing. Every day, start with it and just think of one thing that could be, you just think would be really good for you, and just do that thing. Don't pile on a list of 100 different things.
Wow, I like
one
that.
thing.
I'm going to take note of that. I love that.
I'll text you later on if I remember who said that quote. But the moment I heard it, it stuck with me. I really like that. It's a very fun way to live life. It also gives you something to look forward to. Today I did this. Tomorrow morning, wake up and think, what's the best thing I can do today? Oh, I could visit grandma. Let's do that.
Yeah, excellent. Now here's something. In your entire life, 29 years of your life, and as far as you can remember, what is the bravest thing you've done? That's my standard question, by the way.
What is the bravest thing I've done?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a very hard question. The bravest thing I've done. Many moments have been there of bravery, things like that. Let me think. I'll have to really delve down.
While you're thinking that, can I ask you a question? When your dad was here, and probably he mentioned some things which probably I don't know if you had, and he said that he had talked about it for the first time.
Yeah.
When he was in Delhi, and some people didn't like him, and they tried to harm him and all.
Yeah.
Did you live with that, or did you come to know anything about it, what your father was going through?
No. No. I mean, I was very young at the
Yeah.
time when that incident happened, where, for viewers watching right now, I'll just
Yeah.
recap it quickly. There was like some people threatening my dad to harm his kids and all
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and all that. So there was that, and it was a very tense situation for the time. But I was merely 5 years old, 6 years old. So my parents never really explicitly, brought it up or created a big ruckus in the house, or
Yeah.
because it can be something like that can be very traumatic for the kids, and then you kind
Absolutely. Yeah,
of
of course.
grow up in that fear of these sort of things. So it was never really explicitly told at the time, but of course you do see something is going on, and but I can't really remember if I remember it too vividly as a kid, because I think my parents handled it very well for the time, and they did whatever they could to guard us from the reality and the danger of that situation. So yeah, I can't say that there was any moment that I vividly remember feeling any stress from that at that young
Okay.
age, or trauma from it.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, there's been a lot of moments of bravery. I mean, nothing like rescuing the cat from the tree or whatever. But I think in terms of something heroic, probably not. I've not yet been afforded the opportunity to be very heroic like that. But it's been private moments, as we talked about before, that it's
Yeah.
not always like stepping up and doing something heroic.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's stepping down. I've stepped down and walked away from a lot of things which a lot of people my age were doing, and at the time it was because of peer pressure. That's why I talked a lot. Anything I talked about today has come from a place of real experience, because I've been there, got the t-shirt, and lived through those things. That's why I can talk about it.
Right.
So it kind of ties up all the previous points I talked about. A lot of bravery has come from conquering a lot of things that I thought I could never do.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is for the self, honestly. That maybe somebody hears it, that's not very brave, because it's not like being a firefighter or something. But a lot of it has just been, I guess, holding on to my integrity in a generation which doesn't value it anymore. That is, for this day and age, that is a very brave thing to say. Maybe 50 years ago it would just be the norm, really. But I think that is something brave I've been able to do. Not saying I've been perfect or haven't slipped and fell many times, but that is one of those things. And of course, just taking a chance on myself with my music, and stepping out there, and because for any artist, a lot of it takes a lot of courage. This is also this is geared specifically towards anybody who's an artist, makes music or paintings, whatever your way of expressing it is. It takes a lot of courage to put it out there,
Absolutely.
to really share it with the world. Or it could even be your thoughts and ideas. Like you and I, both of us are now putting content out there. It takes courage to put yourself out there, because you're also putting yourself out there to be on an open forum, to be criticized. And there's going to be mean comments. There's going to be all kinds of people.
Right.
And it takes courage to really put yourself out there and put your way of expressing yourself, be it through words, be it through music, be it through painting, be it through dance, could be whatever. So that is something of courage that every artist does. And I think, that's I'm probably gonna put that in my bravest category for now. Just putting myself out there like that.
Wow, that's amazing. I can totally agree with that. That putting yourself out there is one of the bravest things you can do. And there's a book also I read, because I had this fear of putting stuff out. I painted since the beginning. I've taken photographs, then gradually made films, videos, but I was always scared. There's a very good book. It's called Art and Fear.
Okay. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, Art and Fear. might be there somewhere in my library. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but that gave me inspiration,
Yeah.
to put it out there, because I think so it requires a lot of overcoming. I've
It
had
does.
friends
It
who
does.
have made stuff
Yeah.
and it's been lying in their basement.
Yeah.
They were never able to put it out.
Yeah. For an artist to put their art out there, it takes a lot of courage. Maybe like somebody who's not into art doesn't understand, but
Yeah.
anybody who is an artist watching this,
Yeah.
they're gonna get what I'm saying immediately. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of courage to just put it out there.
You have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And also artists,
Absolutely.
we have to understand artists are they have very high sensitivity.
Yeah.
They're very, their stimuli is pretty high.
Yeah.
The different stimuli that they are taking, the world around them.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so that when you put something out and somebody says something, it goes straight to the heart
It
first.
does. It does. Absolutely.
Only over time you build
Yeah.
this kind of thing, resistance or a buffer.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
for example, when I started doing, and I was doing paid work, so
Yeah.
I started making transformational stories or videos and stuff, and I sent it to my producer.
Yeah.
And they would point out things like technical things. So I'm making the story, I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
Editing and all that. And they said, "Vikram, how is the lighting? How did you do this? You didn't use the powder, the nose is shiny." And I would think, sit there, man, you're not talking about the content, how the story is, how the
Yeah.
person is talking. You're just seeing the shine kind of thing.
Shiny nose.
Yeah, like it's one of the things like how Jesus said, not exactly the reference, but where you see the speck in your brother's eyes and you're not seeing the log in yours. Maybe it's not wrong. It's not the right example. But what I mean to say, it hit me.
Yeah.
And it would prick
does.
me.
It does. Yeah.
And I would like to, I would get defensive,
Yeah.
It was only years later that I came to a point of maturity.
Yeah.
I said, okay, let it be. Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
They're paying you for it. They're allowed to say anything. Okay, you got to deliver them. You got to do whatever they're asking for, even if it sounds sometimes mean.
Yeah.
Because at times I think I did such a good story and they had to point out a flaw. Because the story would actually works. The best reward is from the audience.
It's the worst when you've really worked hard on something and put so much into it, and somebody points out this completely random thing.
Yeah.
And it sucks hearing that. Honestly.
That sucks. So how do you deal with it? Do you also have sometimes these comments or things and all? How do you protect yourself from such criticism or just negative talk?
Yeah, I faced it pretty much ever since I was in school.
Yeah.
Because of the way I dressed. Like hardly anybody wears a cowboy hat and all that sort of stuff. Maybe in Texas I'd be one of it'd be very easy. But here it's so different because of that. I got laughed at a lot in school. A lot of kids didn't get it. But there were I learned how to balance it out by focusing on the people who did get it. Like I made I made really good friends, people I'm buddies with to this day from that time, who were never never judgmental or critical about they never made fun of me. They got it. They're like, yeah, dude, it looks really good on you. You own it, you rock it, go with it. So I think it's to cut out a lot of the flack and focus on the good people, focus on the supportive people you have around you, and roll with that, because there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people running you down. Just develop thick skin, and don't really bother too much about what people think. It hits sometimes, but eventually you do learn how to tune it out.
Right. Where do you see yourself now? You're entering 30. Where do you see yourself? Do you have sort of a plan, next 5 years, next 10 years, or whatever? Do you think in those terms? Not everybody thinks in terms of 5 years, 3 years.
No, I've never really been somebody who's been too heavy into ever planning.
Right.
I just believe it's going to be I don't know where 5 years is going to be at because I haven't planned it, but I just know it's going to be really good. Because I'm just trusting God for it, and I'm just going to keep doing daily.
Right.
I don't know. I cannot change my life over the next 5 years, but I can by every day at a time by doing what I can in my power right now.
Right.
And what lies in the future, nobody knows.
Nobody knows, yeah.
It's like tomorrow, even that's not guaranteed. But today, I know I've worked out, I've done this, I've I'll go home, practice my guitar, and just do all my other productive tasks and just, live a good day and all that. So that is what I can control.
So you take life one day at a
One day at
time.
a time. Absolutely. One day at a time.
What's your goal of life? Ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal of life is going to be to give a lot of value to people, and that, just add value to other people's lives, be it through music, be it through words encouraging somebody, being a good friend, being a good partner, being a good friend, and a mentor, and, you know, adding a lot of music to people's lives through the medium of music, and just adding value to the world through any kind of means I can find, whether through words, content, music, whatever. So that's what I want to do the most. That is my goal with my life, to like be remembered as somebody. Oh, yeah, that was, that guy was pretty good. He like helped out a lot of people, and we learned a lot of things from him, and he was positive. He had a lot of music to share, and yeah, that is ultimately my goal here.
Love that. I love that. Is there anything else on your heart right now that you would like to share with the audience?
This has been a very good conversation. So I got to share a lot of things which, usually in our daily lives, we hardly ever get to have these kind of conversations. So yeah, this has been really good. And if there's one thing that I would like to share extra on top of all this, is just like, in fact, no, I'll ask you that question right now.
Yeah.
Since like, we talked a lot about gratitude, and so tell me 3 things that you're most grateful for.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking. That's a wonderful question. That's one of the things that I tell everybody, be grateful, be grateful. And you won't believe, of course, today was not talking about my life, but I've suffered with depression
Yeah.
for the longest time, growing up, especially in my early teens to 20s. And the only thing I can say that got me out of it was gratitude.
Yeah, it's very important.
And the second thing you said, that was a physical thing, that was going to the gym, exercise, because that's a perfect antidote. It works on a physical, hormonal level. But gratitude on the emotional and spiritual level, nothing can beat that.
Very important.
And so every single day, I like to focus on the things I have. First thing I say, and it's a very simple thing, is it's a new day.
Yeah.
I thank God that I have this opportunity, that I wake up.
Yeah.
Not everybody. I know a lot of people didn't see this year. I heard of at least 3 people who passed away, either on the 31st night or the 1st, So I'm grateful for the new day. Every day is a new opportunity.
Absolutely.
And the Bible says His mercies are new every morning.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Then the second thing I would say is, again, selfish, good health about myself, good health.
Yeah.
And that my faculties are all working, functioning properly, my mind, my body. So I'm grateful for that, because the top wealth is your health.
Absolutely.
The top wealth, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. We were talking about as we age, our joints and all that. I'm grateful that nothing serious has hit me, even in my 40s. So I'm grateful for that. Number 3, that I have my family.
Oh yeah.
And that I have people around me that I can trust.
Oh yeah.
And that I love. It's mutual. That I can show my love on them, and also receive their love unconditionally.
That is
so
very
those
important.
are the 3 things: to wake up, to have my faculties, my health, and my cognizance and everything.
Yeah.
And that I can think and move and be creative, and then my dear ones.
That is a really good answer. So, like, the reason I asked this question, because people watching this could spark the same. This question isn't just for you; it's for everybody watching this. Just think of 3 things at least right now in this moment as you watch this, where you can really reflect and be thankful for it, and maybe do that every day. Take 3 things and just feel grateful, and because a lot of things just go by taken for granted, which you have, but you never. So it's, I guess, good to do that every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ricky, it was great talking to you. As one, before we sign off, is there Where can the audience follow you, find you, and the work that you do? You know, if they're
Right.
interested, where can they do that? Is there a website? Is there handles? Or can we share something
Yeah,
up here?
absolutely. So
Yeah.
my Instagram, which has become pretty like my username, a lot of people sometimes
Yeah.
call me on the street with that name,
Yeah.
is the Rick and Roller.
I love that. Rick and Roller.
Yeah, the Rick and Roll, that's my IG. You can find me on YouTube. Although my channel is fairly new right now, so
Okay.
probably go through my IG.
Yeah.
I've got a link tree there, which
Yeah.
has all the links to everywhere you can find me on social. So
Okay.
IG would be a good place to start.
And IG is Rick.
The Rick and Roller.
Okay, it's with THE.
Yeah. The Rick
Uh,
and Roller.
N just with
Yeah,
N.
just an N.
Like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Rick and Roller. Excellent. All right, I would encourage you to follow Rick at the Rick and Roller on his IG, and you can find the links to the other platforms as well. Ricky, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I mean, you're an amazing guy. This is the first time I got this opportunity to talk deep.
Likewise, Vikram.
Yeah.
Likewise.
And thank you so much. Thank you for coming all the way from the other end of town. I appreciate that. And you know, your support means a lot to me. I mean it, you know. It has been a long legacy from your father and now you. And I have to say, you know, it's such a lovely family. You inspire. You know, not only your dad, like you said, your friend, he looked up to your dad who is now in heaven.
Yeah.
But you too, you are inspiring a lot of people. And I'm sure, guys, you know, a lot of things he talked. I mean, even for me personally, as a man in his 40s, has learned so many things. I mean, we know, but it was a good reminder that, you know, that we could talk about. Thank you so much. And if you found value in this, please like, subscribe to the channel, and you can share it with your friend as well. Lovely having you here. Stay strong, stay courageous. See you in the next one.
Perfect.
Hey, Ricky, we did it.
That flowed so well.
Yeah. You talk well.